Well, hello everybody, welcome back to another lockdown Stanion and Northants Astronomy Club Skyguide. So this guide is for the month of June, year 2020. And okay, so I'll crack on. Okay, first slide, I'm just going to mention on the 20th of June is going to be the summer solstice, which means it will be the longest day of the year. So after the summer solstice, the days will start to get shorter, which means the nights will get longer, and so we get to do more astronomy and more stargazing in the evening. So it's always a good thing. So I'll start off with the planets. So Mercury is going to be it's an evening object. It's low in the northwest after sunset, and around about Mag 0.8. You'll need a low horizon to see it as well. Maybe a challenging spot, and only until the middle of the month, after which it will be lost to the lost in the sun's glare. Next up is Mars. Mars is a morning object, visible in the southeast. It's a Mag minus 0.02, and between the 11th and 15th of June, it is in conjunction with Neptune. It's very close to the much fainter outer planet between those dates. So if you can see Mars in the mornings, between the 11th and 15th, you could probably do a little short star hop to find the blue planet Neptune as well. Next up is Jupiter, much brighter than Mars and Neptune. Also a morning object. I think it rises around about midnight-ish. It starts coming over the eastern horizon. So you should be able to see Jupiter quite easily in the hours before sunrise all month. Mag minus 2.6, so it's quite a bright object. And on the 25th of June, there's a shadow transit of the one of its large moons, its largest moon, Ganymede, which will start at 25 to 12, and it will finish at 10 to 3 in the morning. And this animation you can see on the right is one that I did a few years ago of a moon transit across Jupiter's disk. And if you can see, you can just see the moon creeping in over the disk, and then the shadow following shortly afterwards, and then the red spot comes into view as well. That animation was over a good couple of hours to take that, because Jupiter rotates once every 10 hours. You can see the red spot come around quite quickly. Next up is Saturn. So if you look just to the left of where you can see Jupiter, you'll also see Saturn at a very similar altitude. So Jupiter is not very far away at all. So rising shortly after Jupiter does. A bit fainter, it's at Mag 0.5, so fainter than Jupiter. And also a good opportunity to see this ringed planet in the early hours. And I've got onto some deep sky objects now. So this first one I'm going to highlight is M11, the Wild Duck Cluster, which is an open cluster of stars in the constellation of Scutum, which is just off the bottom of the summer triangle. I usually star hop beginning at Altair in Aquila, and then work my way down through these stars here, and then if you can make out those fainter stars there, we normally star hop across here until you find the fuzzy blob in your finder scope of the Wild Duck Cluster. You can't really see it on this picture that I took a few years ago, but through an eyepiece you can see why it gets its name. It looks like an actual V shape of stars, like the formation that ducks make whilst they're flying through the sky. So it's quite an interesting object to see visually, but sadly the shape didn't really come out in the image that I took. Okay, next object is M57, the Ring Nebula, supernova remnant, which is in the constellation of Lyra. Also, like this one is actually within the Summer Triangle, which consists of the three bright stars. You've got Altair, Deneb, and Vega. You can see this Summer Triangle rising in the east, when it's dark at this time of the year. So the Ring Nebula M57 is quite easy to spot, quite easy to find in your finder scope, and then also in your eyepiece, because it starts at the visually you can see where Vega is, one of the brightest stars in the sky. And just below Vega you'll have two pairs of fainter stars. You should be able to see them with the naked eye quite easily. But the second pair of stars, you'll find M57 is nestled just halfway between those two stars. So it's usually quite easy to train your finder scope about halfway between there. You look in your eyepiece and you'll see the little faint, it looks like a little smoke ring in your eyepiece. And photographically, if you can get a camera on it, you'll start to resolve some colours in the Ring Nebula as well. It's usually got a greenish blue hue to the middle, and then a red glow to the outside as well. And if you have a really good focal length, sometimes you can resolve the actual neutron star in the middle, the remnants of the star that's made this nebula in the first place. So another quite interesting object, quite an easy target to find. Comets, I'm just going to mention comet PANSTARRS again this month, which is still making its way through Ursa Major throughout June. And on I think it's around about the 24th of June, it will be very close to this little object here. It's not labelled, but I know it's M106, which is a spiral galaxy in Ursa Major. It's quite a nice object to see itself, but if it is close enough here, you might be able to get it in the same field of view if you're taking images. Although PANSTARRS is fading now. Last observation by the BAA was on the 23rd of May, and I think they got it at mag 8.8. It's nice and high in the sky, so you might be able to get some good images of it still. From the end of May until early August is Noctilucent Cloud season. Now, these clouds are formed by ice crystals that are very high in the atmosphere, and it happens just when the sun's at the right angle below the horizon. It can reflect off of these ice crystals and back down to the observer, which often makes a ghostly display of kind of like electric blue wispy clouds. They don't always happen, you can't always predict them, but it's always worth to have a look in the northwest sky about an hour and a half or 2 hours after sunset, and then again in the northeast sky about an hour and a half to 2 hours before sunrise. So I know I've seen a couple of posts already on Twitter and Facebook of people who have already seen some displays this year already, so it's worth keeping an eye out for these if you haven't seen them already. This image here was by Margaret Dixon. She took this back in 2014. She kindly gave me permission to use this in my Skyguide last year, so I thought I'd use it again. It's a really nice image, shows the Noctilucent Clouds quite well. Last year I saw my first Noctilucent Clouds, but all I managed to get was this shot on my mobile telephone. So you can just make out the light blue wispiness in the middle of this image here. You see my town in the distance there and the dark sky above. But they're quite a dynamic thing to watch as well. They can change over a matter of minutes. You can see them becoming brighter, fainter. They can change shape. So also quite a popular target for people to do a time-lapse animation with as well. So well worth looking out for. The space station is not visible anytime throughout June this year. The next time we'll see it again passing over visibly in our skies will be on the 2nd of July, and then I think there's plenty of early hours passes next month to enjoy. Okay, so I'm just going to put a few images on here from Graham Algeo, one of our stalwarts of Stanion Astronomy. This is a Milky Way shot that he took from near his home. He's trying to process out a lot of the Milky Way cloud there. Onto another shot that he's reprocessed is his shot of M45, the Pleiades star cluster. And you can see here that he's really brought out some good details in the nebulosity, which gives the star cluster its kind of bluish glow in photographs. Yeah, nice job. Another image here from Graham, and it's another reprocessed moonshot from him. We caught this at like first quarter. And you can see along the terminator here, lots of nice details along the crater rims. You can see some of the mountain ranges as well, being shadows casting across the moon surface. And last thing I'm going to talk about here is the SpaceX Crew Dragon launch. It was supposed to happen last Wednesday, but it got scrubbed for bad weather. But it went ahead last Saturday instead. The rocket successfully launched with two NASA astronauts on board. They had a successful launch. Then they took 19 hours to travel to the International Space Station aboard this brand new Crew Dragon. They've got new spacesuits, and it was a historic launch as well because it was the first launch from American soil in 9 years. Which means now they don't have to rely on the Russian Soyuz capsule to get up to the space station now. So so as I said, they took 19 hours to get to the ISS. Docking procedure was carried out flawlessly as well. You can just see in this animation here, this was the Dragon coming into dock with the space station. See the little jets firing off there as it stabilizes and lines itself up properly, well docked, and then a few hours later they were emerging into the space station being greeted by their colleagues. So I'll look forward to following what they're going to be doing aboard the ISS, and then also how the Dragon handles its descent as well. So there we go. Hope you all have some clear skies this month. Hope you found this Skyguide useful, and you get some nice clear skies to go out there and do some astronomy and keep looking up. Okay. See you next month. Thanks for listening.